Hello viewer, welcome to the first video of my career. Just now, I'm going to explain my plans for the future broken up into 3 sections. Where I want my channel to go, my game idea, and finally, when I plan to start. Before I begin, if you enjoy what you see or find yourself inspired by my work, make sure you like and subscribe to get more videos like this one. Now, leaving the ever-growing Yap storm behind us, we shall begin our first topic. I could go about this a couple different ways, but typically there are 4 main reasons people start a YouTube channel. There are others, but they tend to fall into the same categories he's main for, so I'm just going to stick to these ones at the moment. In this case, the YouTuber would make their channel with the idea to make money out of it, and they most likely plan for their channel to be their job. While it is true that some people make a living out of being a YouTuber, some people don't end up making it. Now, if you plan on taking this route, go ahead. I 100% believe in you. Just wonder if you believe in yourself. Picking this path is what you would call a high-risk, high-reward situation. If you do end up making it big, you will be known and loved by most of the world. Plus, you will be making a living out of doing something you love. On the other hand, though, if you don't make it big, disaster will strike. You will have most likely not gone to college or not studied hard, meaning you won't have gotten a degree. This ultimately leads you to only being able to get low-paying jobs. I'm not saying this will happen, but just think about the risk and wonder if you are willing to take it. Well, they aren't always. Channels like this are usually the ones that you see in the technology department. For example, you may click on these channels when you are searching for how to fix a very specific problem that you swear no one will have the answer to. Of course, this is only one of the types of educational channels. Another example would be an entertaining educational channel, like Mark Rober. His channel isn't designed to help, but to fascinate. And look at him, he's living off of 66 million subscribers. I hugely admire people who take this route, because usually when you are to make a channel to educate, it doesn't make it that far. To me personally, this is just horrible. I mean, come on. Without them, we would be completely lost. Tell me honestly that you haven't had a problem solved by someone on YouTube who has 1,000 subscribers or less. I'll admit it myself. I've been in this situation before many times. Probably more than most due to me being a game dev. Anyways, my point being, this route is a good one to take. While you most likely won't make it into the big leagues, you will still be helping someone in need. That, to me, is enough. This mixed with the first one is probably the #1 most popular reason someone will start a channel. One great thing about these types of channels is that what you do varies. For example, we have people like Ryan Trahan who travels the world and does all the things we didn't know we wanted to see. But we also have people like Markiplier who plays games as a way of entertaining. You could take this many different ways, which is partly why I love it so much. This is the reason most people will take this route. It allows yourself to be free, and let's all be honest, play video games for a pretty good pay. Undoubtedly, this will always be one of my favorite types of YouTube channels. For this path, you are doing what you love but not necessarily looking for riches. Everyone is talking about how they want to do what they love in their jobs, and taking this path is your opportunity to do so. It is true that usually these types of channels are side hustles, but think of how much fun it would be to share your passion with the world. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that if you pick this choice, you aren't going to go big. I'm not saying that at all. It really just depends on how much you care about going big. Usually if you choose this type of channel, you are just doing it for fun. This usually results in not making it big, but if you actually put effort into it, I'm sure you'll make it there one day. I mean, not that I can say much. This is still my first video. I think this is a great option to choose, especially if you are just getting started. For me personally, it doesn't matter about the riches. It just matters about how much fun you're having in the process. And for me, talking about my hobbies with other people who admire or share those hobbies is pretty dang fun. Alright. After all of that said, we now have 4 great options in front of us. Option 1, I could take the route in which I'm gaining a job and aiming for money. Option 2, I could become an educator of the internet and spread my knowledge to those who are curious. Option 3, I could become an entertainer and play video games. And finally, option 4, I could do what I love and not expect to gain any insane popularity. The first one is knocked out immediately, because, let's be real, I'm 13, I don't need a job. Hi, hello. This is Editing Sir Fancy here. I realized that midway through editing that this was going to take a lot longer than I thought it was, and I did the calculations and I will have turned 14 by the time this is out. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, honestly. Well, if you didn't think that was cool, womp womp, buddy. I already said it. Have fun with the rest of the video. The third one is also out of reasoning because I don't really have the energy to be an entertainer. After that, it was a lot harder to decide which one I was going to get rid of next. This is due to them being really similar. But after close consideration, I've decided that I'm going for option 4. I've chosen this because when I had the idea to be a game dev, I thought it would also be really fun to post videos about it. I wasn't looking for any amounts of cash, I just wanted to spread my joy and passion with the rest of the game dev community. Every time I watch a YouTube video about game deving, I just get so inspired. It's like my computer is calling to me, begging for me to learn how to make that game I've always wanted to make. That is why I've decided to make this YouTube channel. I want to inspire those who have the same dream I do, and I want to push them just one step further into accomplishing it. I guess all this falls into the same category as number 4, so yeah. That's why I think number 4 is the best option for my future and the future of my channel. For the past... wait, how long has it been? Hold on a minute, let me count this. Yeah, I think it's 9 months if I counted correctly. Yeah, 9 months since I started coding. And since then, I have had many game ideas. Eventually, I settled on one that I thought was really good. Then I had another idea, and then another. That last one is the one I stuck with. Well, at least I think it'll be. Anyways, I don't want to spend any time talking about the other two, so I might make a video about that separately. We'll see how things turn out. But please, if you do think it's a good idea and you want to see it, let me know in the comments. Your feedback is appreciated and extremely helpful. So, to resume where we left off, I've decided out of these 3 main ideas I've had, that this latest one is the best. There are many reasons for that, but if I ever make a video mentioning the other 2, I'll talk about why. But before that, let's just get started before the yapping gets out of hand. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't work that hard on the story. It maybe took me 5 minutes to construct. That's even if it took that long. Like I said, minimal effort. Still though, I don't think it's half bad. I wouldn't stick with it if I didn't think it was good. I wouldn't stick with it because I'm lazy. No. That's just not the reason. I said no. Get away, please. The story starts and you are an astronaut getting sent into space to collect materials from a nearby moon. You are doing so with your co-pilot, Charlotte. You introduce each other and talk briefly before you finally arrive at the moon you were sent to gather materials from. Since this is your first time in space, she teaches you how to gather materials, perform the basic crafts, and so on. You head back into the ship after collecting what you came there for and get ready for the return flight. However, a malfunction occurs and makes the screen flash bright red. Charlotte sounds confused for a little bit, but shortly finds out the roots of the problem. She says that there is damage to the outside of the ship, and that this is the perfect opportunity for you to get some experience in the field. Before you leave, she hands you some rocket boots, which will help you redirect you if you accidentally let go of the safety bars. After that, you go outside of the ship and to the area of damage. You begin to work on the ship while carefully making sure you do every step right. As you continue, you come to a point where Charlotte sounds confused, saying, "That's odd." She then says that something is wrong, before screaming for you to get out of there. However, before she could finish the sentence, the ship explodes, sending you flying into deep space. As you are flying, a piece of debris from the ship hits you on the head, knocking you unconscious. You wake up lying on the floor of a planet, and you decide to walk around a little while. Getting used to your surroundings, you stumble upon a cave and explore. You gather materials and fend off alien bugs before quickly returning to the surface. You must prepare yourself better before you can go any deeper into the cave. And so, you begin crafting and discovering new things from the planet you landed on. The planet is open world and randomly generated, so explore as you please. You can stay there as long as you like, but when you are ready to go, you can use your newly crafted gravity boots and trampoline to propel yourself into deep space. From there, it is up to fate which planet, moon, or asteroid you land on. Once you're done with that area, you can leave and find a new one. This cycle repeats until you have enough materials and have built a spaceship back home. Also, just before you have enough to build a ship, you will have found Charlotte. I'm not quite sure where I'll put this in, but yeah, like I said, I still have to figure out most of this. Once you have built the ship, you have 2 options. Option 1, you can take the ship and ride back to Earth with Charlotte. Or option 2, you can send Charlotte home without you so that you can go and explore space, embracing the person you have become since that fateful day that you got sent into space. So, as you could probably tell after that agonizing amount of information, The story really isn't that good and way underdeveloped. But for what a piece of crap it is, I don't think it's the worst piece of crap ever. Sure, there are a lot of things that could use work, but I also think it's some of my best work. You can say what you want in the comments, but I'm gonna stick with this for now. For the gameplay, I was thinking it'd be a crafting factory sort of thing. Kind of like Minecraft, but a bit more complex. To put it into perspective, I envision you building factories filled with conveyor belts, mass producing whatever your heart desires. I'm thinking, for collecting the materials, you go into caves to gather them. Some ores and minerals will need machinery to dig them out though, so you may need to wait a little until you can collect all of the good stuff. You use these ores and liquids you find to craft and smelt whatever you decide is most important in that moment. For the rocket boots that Charlotte gives you, I was thinking that you could build upgrades for them that give you a larger fuel capacity, which allows you to use them for longer. This would make floating from planet to planet more coordinated and less boring. I was also thinking it would be cool to have a telescope on you instead of a mini-map. That way, you could look and see how close or far away you are to your destination. I think I will also add a mini-map, but it will probably only be for when you're on a planet, not in deep space. As for the combat, I was thinking that there will be bugs in the caves that you have to fend off. You will run across other enemies, but the bugs are your primary foe at the beginning of the game. In order to fend them off though, you will need a weapon or two. And I was thinking that you could use the ores as knives, kinda like in Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, when Link sticks amber to a stick. You will obviously be advanced enough at some point in the game to have built a gun or two, so this will just be good for the beginning. I also thought it would be cool if you eventually run across a few civilizations, some more advanced than others. This could lead to some pretty cool interactions with the creatures you meet, some of them being more deadly than the others. This was probably the trickiest part of this game idea for me. The reason being, this is a game about space. It needs to be big. I mean really big. In order to do that, the obvious solution would be to make a randomly generated world, right? Well, in this scenario, yes, we would use random generation. But think, that would mean that I would have to completely randomize all of the planets, all of the moons, and all of the asteroids. That includes what shape they take, what material you find on them, and if there's life. And that's not even getting into the additional randomly generated terrain of each individual planet, asteroid, and moon, as in what you will be exploring when you land on them. While this does fill all of the requirements, it would eventually get out of hand. Things will become messy and poorly generated. I could code in rules to fix all of this sloppiness, but that would take too long. I need a better solution. And that's when it hit me. What if I make around 20 planet types, and then have each of these planet types have specific generation code for the world building? I mean, think, maybe it wouldn't be less code, but it would sure as heck make things a lot easier. I would then just have each of the planets pick one of these planet types at random, based off of how close they are to their solar system's sun, and how old their planet is, and then boom, you have a fully fledged, totally completely unique planet to all of the rest. I mean, it's as perfect as my 13-year-old brain could come up with, so I think I'm gonna stick with that for now. Like I said, things could always change, but I think this is a pretty good start. While it's nice having that solved, it does make me realize that there are still quite a few questions I have yet to answer. For example, how far apart is everything going to be? How am I going to make the map, the player-held map, and the actual world map, to scale with how big space is? And if I do make the distance between things big, how am I going to make the journey there fun? This is just scratching the surface of many problems that I've encountered in the exploration of this game. As of right now, I don't have a solution to any of these, so I'm going to have to come back to this in another video. This part may be a bit disappointing to some of you, as the answer I give might shock you. You see, even though I have been learning how to code for almost 9 months now, I still only have a vague understanding of coding. Plus, to make it worse, I've only really been trying to learn for the past 2 months. The rest of the 9 were me just kinda doing it here and there from week to week. At some point, I even stopped completely. But these past 2 months have been really great for my learning process. I've made 2 games with tutorials and 1 without. Well, that's if you can even call this a game. I mean, take one good look at this, and tell me it isn't something pulled straight out of a garbage can. But, as garbage as it may be, I'm actually really proud of it. Sure, the movement's choppy, and player 2 can't move unless player 1 is moving, but I still did manage to make the movement work any little bit I could. And sure, you could complain that the bullet's Y position matches the player's Y position forever, and once one player fires a bullet, the other player can't. But at least the bullets show up at all. Swimming amongst the dozens of flaws in my games, there are also hundreds of successes. And that to me is enough to prove that in time, I will be able to make an actual game. I mean, I started actually trying 2 months ago, and I can already do all of this by myself, no tutorial included. But, while there is a lot to be happy about, there's also a lot to be sad about. Unfortunately, I cannot make a fully fledged game in these conditions. That is why I have added this section of the video, to tell you that I plan to wait at least another 5 months before I begin to code my game. Some of you may disagree and say that I should start now and add later. You may say that there is no better time to start than right now. Well, all of this is reasonable, I just can't, with a consciousness, start the game of my dreams and not be able to touch it for months at a time. I would get really sad and depressed. Heck, I might even give up, and that is just too much risk for me to take. It is sad that I can't begin right away, but I promise I will keep you updated on my progress as much as I can. If you have watched up to this point, I cannot express how much it means to me. As a beginner in the game dev community and the YouTube community, it means the world to even have one supporter. So thank you, viewer, for watching, and I will see you in the next video.